A warm welcome to you wherever you're reaching and joining us from around the world. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike.
And I'm Choma Okohe.
All right, in a bit we'll be moving straight to our newspaper headlines for this morning to see through all that we have on our desk today. And right after that will be our main conversation also for today, this morning. Please do well to visit us if you haven't. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may also like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. With me and Choma, most definitely, today in the studios to look through all that we have on our newspaper headlines is Cyril Abaku, journalist, public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Cyril.
Morning.
Good morning,
and welcome.
Cyril.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. All right, so let's kick start today with the first paper on our desk.
Yeah, the first paper on our desk is the Daily Trust newspaper. That is the paper we'll be starting with. And on the top strip, you find terrorists using girls as suicide bombers, sex slaves.
Yes, and we have the big story here. Reps ask Discos to raise investment to 500 billion naira or exit.
Okay, moving on. Still on the top strip for me, 209 died from Jigawa tanker explosion. Probe panel.
All right, and we equally have federal government earmarks 112 billion naira to safeguard schools in 3 years.
Okay, if you go down, you see, let me read this particular story. ACF to Tinubu. Economic policies impoverishing Nigerians or impoverishing Nigerians. That is the particular story.
Okay, and we equally have federal government sacks Unizik Council, VC Registrar. I wonder what that story is about. It's been making rounds in most social media feeds, you know, the Unizik store. But it made, of course, made known today on Daily Trust. Maybe we might look at it. But let's take a look at this particular issue just before we go into that. Terrorists using girls as suicide bombers and sex slaves. Cyril Abaku, I know we've said this over and over and over and over and over on this particular platform on how that you know, insurgents, you know, incubate some of these people, some of them, you know, bringing them in unjustly, forcefully. Now we're having even the Lakurawa offering 1 million naira just to have people come to their space. But particularly, let's take a look at when innocent people, importantly, young girls, innocent young girls are becoming casualties to some of these issues. Where are we not doing what we should do, and where are these insurgents breaking the rule here of engagement?
You know the way Britain and even America and Western countries became alarmed when some of their citizens were being indoctrinated and won over by ISIS to go fight for them. Yes. It was a thing of the mind. But here in our own context, I always said that we were not fighting Boko Haram as we ought. It is first an ideological war. Some of those girls are not captured. Some of them are people who have been converted to believe in the cause. And if that was the case, it means some parents will have daughters and say, come on, we even saw Tunisian women who said they were going to support the war in the Middle East, the ISIS war, by going to offer themselves as to offer some sort of value in terms of pleasure. And this is put it euphemistically for the ISIS fighters. Tunisian women came together in their numbers. So they wanted to go and ease the burden on that it was their own war.
Contribution.
Yes, it was their own contribution to the war. So maybe only to the extent that it is not how we would want things to be. But for somebody to, even if they caught you at gunpoint, to be a suicide bomber will require some measure of your own agreement to go and do it. That's how I see it. What else will you? Because the bomber can't be too close to the person sending him or her to do the bombing. Yes.
True.
What if, okay, let me bring in this scenario where they say, or let me bring in this quote, you don't judge a shoe you haven't actually worn, or because you're saying that that's how you see it. Now, what if these young ladies are being threatened, and maybe they are doing it because they want their family to live. Because if we should look at the whole scenario on how most of these bandits penetrate these villages, they were asked to pay some ransom. Some of them are asked to pay a particular fee, and maybe they were captivated and told, if you don't do it, we'll go back to your family or kill your family.
They were captured and told, yes.
Yes. So what if that is what they are offering their life so that their family could actually live?
No, so there's something called Stockholm syndrome, where people have been arrested and they were captives, begin to develop sympathy for their captors. I can't rule out the scenario you've painted, but largely in an, please underline, in an ideological war, not conventional war, in a war in which people are being told that the highest point of attainment in your faith. You know, it's like when people say, are you a churchgoer or are you born again? Among reggae people, there's a matter of, are you just a Rasta or are you a Naya Bingi? Naya Bingi are people that have to lock their hair for 7 years, must smoke marijuana. There's a code, and then they subscribe to the Mosaic law. So you are looking at people who have been told that for you to be a proper Muslim, you have to subscribe to certain tenets. And for a number of them, yes, they were kidnapped, but when you see, because we only talk about the kidnaps we even hear, but how about those who are kidnapped and the communities have sympathy. If not for sympathy, Lakorawa shouldn't have been where it is today. So there are people who are sort of partners in crime, as it were, to what is going on. You can't rule it out. The matter in the north is very complex and difficult. Okay. But it's okay. I understand the table's desire that we look at those who have been captured and been forced to do what they're doing. Why have we not been able to? Why is this still a discussion point till today? You know who said this? The people saying this are the National Counterterrorism Center that is domiciled in the presidency. It is supposed to be more or less the coordinating center for terrorist activities, for anti-terror activities in the country. Now, what I suggested was, to end a war, you need a long-term approach. While you deploy soldiers to the field, see what you also do. You came and said, Boko Haram, you're using Lafia Dole. What does Lafia Dole mean? Let there be peace. You're not countering
peace by force.
You are not
peace by all means.
How does that how does that counter Boko Haram that says Western education is evil or forbidden? I still spoke to a few northern friends and I said we should have something like Boko Albarka. You speak Hausa Henry, or Boko Dakiao, right? Or Boko. Just look for something to say book is beloved, book is good. So it's a counter to Boko Haram. Then you bring people who have done Boko Albarka and are succeeding and are good. Then you also tell them that if Boko is so haram, why are you using Boko's products to fight to fight it? You are not fighting this battle at the level of ideology. A war in which your language psychologists, your sociologists, your scholars at the leading schools of management and social science are not part of it. In America, they have a particular army formation called, that is at Fort Bragg. It is an entire military formation. They don't use weapons there. Fort Bragg is mind war, is, you know, this informational war. So you have people, copywriters, and people just, what are they after? They're after so when it was about to break out somewhere, you know the way they say, you soldiers are coming to fight us when your wives are going, you know, to dampen the morale of the soldiers. So how do you counter such message and keep your soldiers in? This is what we need to do. We need to be able to beat back the idea. But I think that terrorism has been so deeply entrenched now that in trying to fight it, you know, it's like when you want to take off frost from a freezer that has been on deep. If a freezer has been very frosty for a long time, you can't just take the frost away. You may end up breaking the. That's where we are. The thing has been so, and whole village has been taken over. People in some places don't even have a choice. It is almost seen as a way of life. So they are using our girls as sex slaves. They are using our children as what is it called now? As suicide bombers. Now, when last was there suicide bombing in Nigeria? That these girls were used. It was in Senator Ndume's constituency in Borno South also, the one that has a boundary with Cameroon. Yes. But if bombing is taking place, we were not hearing it all. If it is taking place, how come we are not even aware that such a thing is taking place? Or where are they bombing the bombing? I don't know. This apparent lack of sync in communication and information. Because for some time now, we were told that Boko Haram has even sort of, that they've been able to whittle them down to a degree. But if they still have sex slaves, so what is the plan to go and rescue those children? And what is our plan to rescue them, you know, then reintegrate them to society? I think we should be talking more about. And now, in 2024, we should be talking more about what we have done, not what is still happening. But unfortunately, the military said Lakurawa just came into town not long ago. There was a coup in Niger, and Nigeria stopped communicating with Niger. Then they bordered, then there was no monitoring anymore. They came into the country. Somebody said the military didn't say the truth. Lakurawa has been on for more than 6 years now, for 6 years or so. Now, Henry, which one did we believe? We don't know what we believed. Which one are those at the battlefront taking to guide their offensive against Lakurawa? Nobody knows. We have moved on from two versions of a story to fight the people that we obviously don't know who they even are, or have known who they are but are not willing to confront the truth. How will you win the war?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Cyril Abako. Now, let's look at this particular story. The other one when we talked about the students, UNIZIK, yes, Federal Government sacks UNIZIK Council VC registry, register, I mean. So, what is your reaction to the...
I know, so it's a big story. Hopefully, it should be on the table maybe tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, but the man had gone to contest for governor of Enugu State. Then he had also been SSG or something, commissioner in Ebonyi also, I think. Then he came back to become vice chancellor of. I don't understand this kind of.
So maybe asking someone to hold brief for him while he goes around to see if to try his luck on other things.
Is that in keeping with? Looks like a hustler. Somebody just anywhere the thing go up, just pop. I don't think a university should be run by, because this way. Tomorrow he may abandon the school and want to. But I mean, I've had friends who went to UNIZIK and they've spoken very loftily about the school. I've been privileged to have a few friends who spoke very highly of Nnamdi Azikiwe University. So to think that this sort of appointment was made, you go contest for governor, you didn't even governor, you become vice chancellor. Is Nigeria waiting for you? Anything? I don't.
Thank you so much, Cyril. Let's get into the next daily, and that's the Vanguard newspaper.
Yes, and we have the big story here. Terrorists from Mali, Burkina Faso, in northwest Niger state, and that's coming from the Senate. And the writer here says the task military on an early warning mechanism. DHQ confirms the killing of 5 soldiers in Borno, terrorists and Bush, and troops to neutralize 30 terrorists. Okay, on the top strip, you have PDP National Chairman, North Central divided over consensus candidate. And also we have on the bottom strip here, import license, Dangote refinery suit incompetent NLPCL test court. Okay, let's look at this particular story. Military alone can't end insurgency. That is coming from the NDA commander. Also, let's go international for a bit here. Russia-Ukraine war. Kyiv fires a British Storm Shadow missile into Russia. Okay. Moving on, still on the national dailies. Not 2027. Not will be best served by Northerners, and that's coming from the ACF. Cyril Abako, let's go international for a bit. Russia-Ukraine war. Kyiv fires British Storm Shadow missile into Russia. Just a couple of days back, they did with the missile, you know, the go-ahead they got from the United States, and of course they launched at Russia, and now they have followed, the British government have followed suit in simpatico with the United States, equally giving them the grace to use their stuff. Now, what do you think this would look like 2-3 months into Donald Trump coming in? Are they trying to see the best they can do just before Donald Trump comes in and maybe stops everything? They're ambushing him. They're ambushing Donald Trump. Well, we see, I mean, this is like using what they have to get what they want, clearly. It's like saying, if we can fire our last shot, why not? Let's fire it. Because, of course, for a long time, America made it clear, don't use our weapons in Russia. Let's keep things the way they are. But Trump coming to say he's going to end the war as soon as he comes in one day. And of course, NATO also being jittery, looking at the whole thing.
It's like saying, I mean, let's fire the last shot and see what happens. I don't see Vladimir Putin nuclear bombing Ukraine. He won't try it.
Okay.
He won't try it. Because if he did, America would respond.
America would respond.
They would.
Despite the fact that they have given the admission for a long-range missile, which is hitting the motherland.
No. Despite the fact that Ukraine isn't really a member of NATO. No. Have they joined?
No, they've
No,
not. They've not.
joined.
So America's nuclear umbrella, America's nuclear weapons are the reason European countries are not developing nuclear weapons every day.
Oh, okay.
Yes, by policy it is called. That's what NATO is about. That America's nuclear weapons.
Okay, it's enough to
Yes, will serve
the
both
EU.
America and NATO members.
Oh, okay.
While Russia now follows by instituting what they call the Warsaw Pact, which was reached in Poland. That Russia will provide coverage for itself and its former Soviet Union countries. But over the years, all the Soviet Union, all the former USSR countries began to join NATO. And Russia said this was not the agreement we had. You are taking these people into NATO. Russia felt endangered, up to the point where the last man standing is Ukraine, which shares direct boundary with Russia. So it means if Ukraine joins NATO, Russia has been sort of it is the reason Putin is. So people who really don't know what's going on just look at So I think Trump somehow somebody with a strong world view may feel, but you had an agreement. Why are you now going to try? Because when you put a nuclear weapon in Ukraine's hand, either directly or indirectly, what have you done? It's like you're facing Moscow. The next thing that happens is Moscow. And given the way, let me just say, foreign powers have been also trying to remove Putin from power. It means they can deploy anything into Ukraine. They can now strengthen their eyes and ears and their noses on Moscow.
So make Ukraine like a base for launching into
that's
Russia.
what will happen. And any day Russia or Russia means they can they are so close they are by your door.
Yes.
It means that they would have clipped Russia. This is the reason what's his name? Putin is fighting back and trying to Russify Ukraine. This is the you remember when they went to a meeting in, was it Georgia or somewhere, where Putin didn't want to shake, was it Biden or Obama publicly, and he said, in fact he said normally as a president there are ways you don't talk. Putin took to the podium and blasted the American president. And he said, we people were in agreement and you are breaking agreement. If war comes, you know that you are the one that caused it. He said he openly threatened them there. So when the Crimea thing, this is the thing. Crimea was in Russia. Well, again, over the centuries, it's been in and out of Ukraine and Russia, but at the last, Crimea was part of Russia. It was during the Soviet Union years that out of goodwill and in order to make them feel happy, Joseph Stalin gave Crimea to Ukraine.
But they are Russian speaking
Ukrainians. They are all ethnic Slavs.
Okay.
It's like talking of German, right? There are German, so they speak German in Germany, Austria, Hungary, Poland, and so on. Yeah, so you have Poland is usually one way Russian, one way German, right? So you have the Slavs, the ethnic Slavs that are mainly the former Soviet Union. Now, what happened there? There are ethnic Russians even up to Estonia, the Baltic countries, Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, and so on. What happened was that, in a way, Russia pushed its people, its natives, into those places. This Russia versus Ukraine is a long battle that is really between Russia and the shadow nations. Did you hear now that when Trump in Moscow's retaliation to Biden's statement, is anybody who attacks either Russia or Belarus? Or Belarus, you know? Why? Is this a game that they're playing there? So, but the point I'm making is this. Joseph Stalin handed over Crimea to Ukraine. He did. But you know why he could do it? It was the same USSR. In the end, what is in Ukraine is in Russia's hands. But now, long after the 15 countries were broke up during the Christmas Day Revolution, they broke up. And so Putin, in attempting to reassert his influence and everything, was it Lukashenko, after they had imposed a puppet in Ukraine, and moved the nuclear weapons in Ukraine back to Russia. It is the reason he's able to play feeding bottle politics with Ukraine. If not, if Ukraine still had those words on their soil, Putin will not dare it.
Thank you so much.
He will not have dared.
Thank you so much, sir.
It's a very, very long haul.
Oh, yeah,
we just hope this comes to an end, because it's what's affecting Russia and Ukraine is equally affecting the world. And that's the reason the price of bread is off the roof, because Nigerians can't get any of the wheat coming from there. So we wish the world well, just like we wish Nigeria well. Thank you so very much, Sarah Labako, for being part of the show. We truly do appreciate you.
And when we return, Nigerian Army launches probe into alleged assault on couple in Abuja. We'll be right back. Just stay with us.